If you want to make web applications in Python or any kind of software as a service or web app, you can. Now you have several frameworks to choose from. There's Tornado, there's Django, there's Web2Py, and many others. One of the most popular frameworks for building web applications with Python is Flask. So what is this Flask? Flask is a module, or more specifically a framework for Python. You can use this module to build your web applications. And what you can do is you can link any web URL to a Python function. And the output of that Python function is shown to you in the browser. Now by default you can output text or strings, but you can also output templates. So you can add your data into templates and show it in a nice format. The templates engine that Flask is using is called Jinja 2. And there's a link below that shows what it looks like. And Flask gives you a lot of freedom in terms of designing your application. So it doesn't force any type of architecture on you. You can just load the Flask app and add whatever modules you like into your app. Django forces you to use an object relational manager or ORM and forces you to interact with databases in that way. Flask doesn't do that at all. You can do that if you want using the module SQL Alchemy, but it's not necessary. So if you want, you can just write plain SQL queries, or you can ignore a database at all if you don't need it. So that's about Flask. So how do you load this Flask in Python? Well, if you have a terminal like this, you can use the pip package manager to install it. So you can run this command, or in your virtual environment just type pip install Flask, and that will install the Flask module. Now if you're using an IDE like PyCharm, you can go into PyCharm, in your projects, go to PyCharm Preferences, go to your projects, Interpreter. Make sure you're actually using a new version of Python, so don't use Python 2, that's deprecated and old stuff. You want to be using Python 3 or newer. Then to install the Flask module in PyCharm for this project, click on the plus symbol, then type Flask and click Install Package. So that will install the Flask package for this project. You'll see package Flask installed successfully. So now in your Python code you'll be able to load it and create your first Flask or your first web application with Python.